Good evening, race fans, and welcome to today's race here with All-American ARCA. And we are currently getting started for today's race. We are actually having some technical difficulties with our overlay here, so we will try and get that resolved here as our drivers start to grid for today's race and get ready for today's event. Alright, there we go, folks. Apologies for that. Let's start off today with a little bit better of a start here for today. Welcome to the Daytona 200. We're here with All-American ARCA for the season start of this series here. Race 1 of 14, 80 laps that we're going to be doing here at Daytona. My name is Mason Heimball with Team Goon Squad, bringing you the action. 1080p, 60 frames a second. Little jank, but we're going to go through it as we always do, folks. But with that out of the way, we're going to go ahead and start off with our starting grid here. Clay Cantrell starting out in first place in that number 8 machine, with Justin Bentley out in second, starting in 16. 9 going to be starting in third, with David Westerly in the 55, going to be starting in fourth place. Greg Carr at number 25. Fifth, Zach Roethlisberger going to be in sixth place in that number 90 machine. Jay Stinson going to be starting in seventh. Craig Martin in eighth place. Alex Carr in ninth place. Mike Husby going to be starting out in 10th place. Brandon Barkuski in 11th place. Robert Hill going to be in 12th place. David Tooker in 13th. Justin Ray in 14th. Kyle Hall in 15th. Davis Warren in 16th. From going to be starting it out in 17th. Dennis Weeks in 18th. Christopher Heller in 19th. James Silvers in 20th. Matthew Weeks in 21st. Nick Terrell in 22nd. Zach Rogers going to be in 23rd for today's race. 24th in is Ben Dupre. Excuse me if I'm getting that incorrect. Justin Johnson in 25th. Radburn Shutters in 26th, Lane Doyle in 27th, Gareth McAllister in 28th, Cody McCorkle 29th, Michael Vandermeed in 30th, Blaze Andritz in 31st, and I couldn't even get through the whole grid before we got started here, folks. A little bit of a rough start for today's race here up in the booth, but we are going to get started with today's action. Clay Cantrell out on the lead, Casey Carrington following very, very closely behind in second place. 80 laps that we're going to be completing here at Daytona. 200 miles around the track that we are going to be doing here today. And these guys are absolutely on a mission already. You can see this field stacking up, going down the backstretch into turn 3. Casey Carrington, Clay Cantrell going to be side by side. The 55 of David Westergreen, the 25 of Greg Carr. You can see just behind them, look at that field. Too wide and almost infinitely deep. That is an excellent view of the field here of the All-American ARCA Series presented by Open Group. Look at these guys just absolutely killing it here on track right now. You can see the number 8 of Clay Cantrell down on that bottom line. He's followed by the 25 of Greg Carr, also being led by the 16 of Justin Bentley, just barely behind them, and these guys are absolutely battling it here side by side. And I'm surprised that no one here is really opting to try and go 3 wide here and really trying to open this field up. Well, really close it a little bit more, rather. But this is a smart move for all of these drivers here, opting to go 2 wide, and I think that's normal for most cases. But these guys already lap 2 of 80, and they have not moved an inch from each other. You can see just barely in the back here. Looks like David Tooker. Excuse me, no, that's going to be the number 20 machine. I might be seeing some incorrect numbers here on my timing, but that is A-OK. Looks like Craig Martin in the number 22 machine just out in front of David Tooker. It looks like is going to be in that number 20 machine, who is showing as the 83, but that is a-okay here, folks. Look at this drafting here that these guys are pulling off here. Let's quickly ride on board here with Craig Martin in the number 22 machine. Your gas cap is off, buddy. And you know what? We might go get some barbecue after this one. This race definitely seems like it's going to earn that right here. And for the season opener here with All-American ARCA here at Daytona, what a heck of a start to this race. And I think that these guys are excited to kick things off here even further and continue this green flag run that we have currently. And looking for battles in the broadcast booth here, there's battles all over the track right now. It's kind of just pick and choose who you want to look at. Right now we're kind of locked on with Kyle Hall in the 87, who's in 11th place right now, just kind of trying to get a bearing of what's actually happening here in this grid and how these guys are moving and shaking things about. And it seems like right now everyone is steady going, just trying to, essentially, you want to save as much fuel as possible here in these early stages. You don't want to try and burn yourself out early on. There's no reason for it. There's still 75 laps that we have to complete here at Daytona, and with the size that we have here of this track, you're going to be burning through a lot of fuel very quickly if you're in the mentality of, all right, I need to start working my way through the field and gaining positions left and right. Some drivers might be able to do that without even really necessarily trying. But on the offhand, you do run the risk of burning through your fuel. Burning through your tires is another big factor that drivers have to be mindful of in a race like this. 80 laps here at Daytona, 200 miles that we are going to be doing here. That is quite the distance that these guys are going to be putting on these tires. So, with that in mind here, folks, this is going to be quite an interesting race, both for myself and for all of the drivers watching, or all the drivers participating right now, rather. I'm sure everyone watching at home right now. Also, a big shout out to everyone watching at home. Thank you all for tuning in and joining us here for the All-American ARCA Series Daytona 200 presented by Open Group. This has been some great action that we have seen here so far. David Westergreen is actually leading this field now, as Casey Carrington and Clay Cantrell are going to be side by side in second and third place. We have also some shout outs in the chat for the number 51, the 36, the 16, the 70, and the 66, as well as 12th place number 87. So a lot of folks here showing up for different drivers, and hopefully we get to see their favorite drivers have some success here at Daytona in this race, the Daytona 200. And right now, it's a lot of patience. This is going to be a lot of just hitting your marks, not being too aggressive too early on. If you're finding yourself wanting to get on that loud pedal and really try and move and shake through this field, you're probably not going to have the best of times. There might be some issues that you'll have later down the road, whether that is tire related, whether that's fuel related, or whether it's just you're getting a little too bold, I should say, with your strategies, and things don't end up working in your favor. But right now, these guys are looking just absolutely thrilling here on track. Lap 9 of 80 that we have completed here so far. David Westergreen in the 55 going to be on the down low, coming out of turn 2 down the back stretch with Casey Carrington and that number 9 machine, and just barely inching out in front of the number 55, going to be able to take that first place position for the time being. But as we go into turn 3 and 4, David Westergreen having that low line advantage, going to be able to take that lead back. So that's another thing that we're going to be looking here for, folks, throughout this race. These guys, if they continue to do what they're doing, and if you're looking just a little bit further back, that shot didn't really give the whole field of view, but you can kind of see the low line. There's just a massive string of drivers that are present. So I would expect that this is going to stay this way for some time, either until our pit stop start or someone makes a mistake. It's either one of those two things. And right now, everyone is wanting to put on an excellent performance here for the very first race of the season. And I gotta say, this has been absolutely impressive here. Lap 10 of 80 here at Daytona for the Daytona 200. I'm just admiring these drivers right now, folks. This is absolutely fantastic to witness here. These guys absolutely just grooving with one another. And we're actually going to take a second here. We're gonna check out our drone camera that we brought here to Daytona for today, just to kind of get a different view of what's going on here. Impressive work by our drone camera flyer person, following along with the number 18 of Jay Stinson. You can kind of see all the different, messing up my words here, how all the drivers are just moving about the track and how they're all settling in once they come out of the turn or come into the turn. Very interesting things to see here as we have our first yellow flag fly for the race. Let's take a look at Matthias Weeks. Looks like he went off track here for a certain reason. Looks like we have carnage all over this track. Oh no. So let's stop things here for a second. Let's cycle back. And let's go to our drone camera. And we'll see exactly how this unfolds. Oh no, you can see. Oh man. So drivers trying to react in the back of the field, also getting collected in an incident there as well. So essentially two separate incidents that happen here. And I'm trying to find who exactly crashed. Brad Delph looks like going to be the driver that caused this incident. Let's take a look here at Mr. Brad and see how this unfolds here. Now, this is the number 14, Brad Delph, in the Chevrolet. So he's following behind the 32, and he gets clipped by, it looks like that was the 67. If that, gets clipped again. Starts spinning in the middle of the field, collects another driver, and behind them, there's more drivers also getting involved in incidents. So, yeah, this is definitely an interesting caution to have come out here. The back of the field just having a little bit of troubles, but a great shot of the field making their way down into pit road as we get started for our pit cycles here today. Or at least for the caution, driver's going to come down pit road and get some adjustments done. Maybe top off on fuel. Whatever the case may be. But out in front, the number 30 of Alex Penn is going to be the leader here on this restart, with Lane Doyle in the number 32 going to be in second place. Gareth McAllister in the 888 machine going to be following behind just in third place. So as drivers get themselves sorted back out and the field gets re-racked here, we're going to take a very quick commercial break here, folks. We'll be right back in quite literally a minute. Stay tuned for more iRacing here on Team Goon Squad.
Driver Carrington gets dumped by Benami. The leaders are winding up here. Daytona, the big one is out.
All right, welcome back, folks. If you are just now tuning in to the action here at Team Goon Squad, we are here with the All-American ARCA Series for the Daytona 200, presented by Open Group. This is the season opener, race 1 of 14. This is the first caution of the race here today, as indicated by the timing tower, lap 15 of 80 that we have gone through. And, folks, if you are just now tuning in, this racing has been absolutely thrilling to watch. These drivers have been side by side, too deep for practically the entire field, and it has been absolutely amazing watching these guys battle it out for so long with a car on their outside just as long. Now, I want to mention as well, if you are not familiar with racing or just iRacing in general, or have never found yourself wanting to get into those things, it's a very interesting feeling having a driver on your outside for so long and going as fast as these guys are. But as pace car comes down into pit road and the green flag flies, Alex Penn and Lane Doyle are going to be leading this race side by side, taking it into turn 1 with David Westergreen and Gareth McAllister now going to be in third and fourth place, excuse me. But you can see here that, just as I was mentioning a moment ago, these guys have been side by side too deep for a long time here at Daytona. And I was mentioning earlier as well, I don't expect this to change very soon. This is going to be how this race goes, I think, for quite some time, until you start to see tire wear start to come in, fuel becomes something that drivers have to think about. But right now it's all about keeping their pace and staying where they are or getting ahead as much as they possibly can before they really start to go down on the loud pedal. But we're going to work our way from the back up through the field here, starting with Robert Hill Jr. in the 05 machine. You can see from his perspective how the field kind of stacks up in front of him. And it's an interesting perspective as well. You can kind of see from that 05 machine, you got a little bit of action up front. You have two drivers kind of duking it out up top, but a long string of drivers down on the bottom line all the way up to the front of the field. Just a very interesting perspective from that 05 machine, but at least when you are in the back, you have the least amount of things to worry about. So, that 05 machine is going to just keep cruising along, rocking and rolling here, but doing a great job doing so here And I believe that Robert was also involved in that incident earlier, getting collected in those drivers. So, not exactly ideal for the number 05, but he's making the best of it. We're actually going to take a look here at the 119 of Blaze Andrich. Currently in 32nd right now, following essentially kind of behind the front of the field where they stop, being too wide. You can see there what I mean just for a moment. But Blaze right now is kind of in a position where he is at the kind of the tail end of this pack, and he's going to have to work his way back up. And the thing about these cars specifically is once you are out of that draft, it is nearly impossible to catch back up. Almost impossible, actually. So once you find yourself in that disadvantage where you're not able to catch up with the rest of the field, it can serve as a real chore. It's not easy. Not a lot of drivers are able to do it and make it work for them. So we'll see how some of these drivers handle that, how they work that into their strategy and into their race going forward. But looking at Cody McCorkle in the number 2 machine right now in 29th place, you can see sideways, side by side for just a moment with the 89, it looked like. The 05 now is going to be on his outside. That's Robert Hill Jr. Going to be working his way right around the 2 machine as if he was kind of just standing still there. Robert definitely going to be on a mission here to try and work his way back up through this field. Already doing so quite impressively. And these drivers have already put on quite an impressive race here so far. Checking back in with our leaders, though, for just a quick moment. The number 30 of Alex Penn still leading this race. Lane Doyle, Gareth McAllister, both going to be side by side, second and third. What a great view coming down the back stretch. Oh, you can see the leaders now going side by side. The 32, Lane Doyle, on the outside as they come out of turn 4. And into turn 1. Oh, folks, this is this battle in the front here, it's not going to end. It's going to stay this way for a very significant amount of time. And lap 22 of 80, we're about a quarter of the way through this race already. And these guys are absolutely storming around Daytona, and it is fantastic to watch. Let's actually take a moment to ride on board with Gareth McAllister in that number 888 machine. The native Australian here at All-American ARCA. Take a moment to just listen to both Gareth McAllister and the rest of the field around them. Not a whole lot of throttle being let off on these guys. These guys are going to be staying on that throttle for the majority of the time. This is Daytona. There's no reason to let off on that throttle. You want to keep going. Boogity boogity, you know what I'm saying? So these guys are definitely being cautious, not letting the speed of the draft kind of put them in a little bit of a kink and potentially throw them out of the race. I don't know what that was on screen. I don't know if anyone else on the broadcast saw that, but that was weird. But these guys are just absolutely trying as best as they can and doing extremely well to stay as close as possible to the driver in front of them. And that's all you have to do right now. There's not a whole lot else that you need to do in the first half of this race. It's stay out there, stay consistent, make positions if you can, and conserve your fuel and manage your tires. That's really the best thing that you could possibly do in a race like this. You don't want to be extremely aggressive right off the get-go. You could easily say that there are drivers here that can be making passes, going around each other as if this was the last 5 laps of the race. And you're absolutely right. They could, but it's not the smart strategy to make. But all of these drivers here, lap 26 of 80 now, as they cross the checkered line, have done a phenomenal job here at Daytona for the Daytona 200 presented by Open Group. I gotta say, folks, this has been a phenomenal race to watch. Let's actually take another look at the drone camera view of the 06 machine of Finley Fitzsimmons. Not necessarily a straight-on view of the 06, but kind of he's in 9th place right now, so kind of just giving you an idea of the top 10 and how these guys are moving and grooving through this track. Lap 26 of 80. I gotta say, folks, this is oh, here we go, 3 wide. You can see the number 9, Casey Carrington, gonna be on the outside of the sandwich here, and that's going to throw a yellow flag out on track. Let's see what we can find here and determine what exactly happened. It's not appearing here at the moment, but we're going to keep looking, and we'll wait to see if we're going to be able to get a replay of that available to you guys. But lap 27 of 80 here, and honestly not exactly sure what happened here to throw that caution out. If I had to guess, it would probably be something that happened towards the rear of the field, but I couldn't be 100% sure on that. Live timing isn't exactly being very helpful either. All right, folks. So Lane Doyle, Alex Penn going to be the leaders here of the race, and you can see now a lot of the field starting to make their way down into pit road. David Westergreen in the 55 machine going to be one of those drivers leading this string of drivers down pit road currently. So with that being the second caution of the race, I'm going to be curious here how this is going to, well, I don't think it's going to alter the pit strategy for any of these drivers here necessarily. There are 3 sets of tires that drivers have to have available to them to use. You start with 80% fuel capacity, so given that we've come down twice already into pit road, at least most of these drivers have, the only three drivers actually, that have not come down pit road this entire race, Lane Doyle, Alex Penn, Gareth McAllister, these three drivers have all opted to stay out for the majority of this race. And that's, for me, that's a curious thing. When you had the opportunity 2 times now, and you choose not to, well, that's interesting. But these 3 drivers are also in the lead. So it does make sense. But how this is going to play forward for these 3 drivers once we go green again, well, that's another story. Once we go green again, these drivers are going to have to come down pit road eventually. And I'm going to take a wild guess, and I'm going to say that's going to be about halfway through this race. Maybe a little bit farther, maybe a little bit sooner, but I'm going to guess halfway. We'll leave it at that for right now. And actually, I would like to correct myself. There are 4 sets of tires that are utilized for this race. It's including the one on the start of the race. I would like to also mention here before we go green, our race control for today for Season 3 is both Joseph Penn and 2-time league champion Johnny Eckert. If you were here for last season, you'll remember Johnny Eckert having quite an incredible season and stepping down as a driver and coming into the race control booth coming into Season 3. So great to have Johnny Eckert and Joseph Penn both up there making sure this race goes as smoothly as it does. And we are green flag here once again. Lane Doyle, Alex Penn leading this race. Brandon Barkuski, Finley Fitzsimmons. Oh, we are 3 wide here up in the front. The 36 machine, Brandon Barkuski, able to take the lead out on the top line as well, doing a great job. You can see Brandon Barkuski, Alex Penn both duking it out side by side. Oh, folks, this action here down the back stretch, going into turn 3 and coming out of turn 4, lap 31 of 80. Now, I'd also like to mention as well, during these pit stops, once these pit stops start, if drivers opt to take any tires, they're usually only going to take 2, usually the inside 2. The reason being is your outside tires generally don't get as used as much as your inside tires. But as we watch Finley Fitzsimmons in the 06 machine, who has worked his way up 25 positions from the start of this race, in 7th right now, you can see him on the outside of the 22 of Craig Martin. Great view of the field there, coming out of turn 4. And this race has been incredible from the start up until this point. All the way until this point, actually. It's been phenomenal what these guys have done here all race long, and we have still a long race left to go. Well, we have shout-outs for the number 66 machine. Devin Scroggins back in 25th right now, up 11 from where he started. Gonna be kind of leading this pack. It is lonesome, almost, trying to work his way into the string of drivers that are slowly but surely working their way up to the front of the field, where all the drivers are too deep for 10 or more drivers at least. A lot of great racing that we have here today at Daytona. And a lot of battles that we have, folks, that it is almost impossible to keep up with every single one because there's just so much action out here on this track. We're going to ride on board with Casey Carrington in the number 9 machine as he works his way into turn 3 and going to come out of turn 4. He's in 10th place right now. Ooh, a little bit of action from the 22 up in front. That's gonna make Casey a little cautious here, going in past the checkered line into turn 1 and 2. But these drivers absolutely doing an incredible job here. I am absolutely impressed with what I'm seeing here. But take a look. That's not the one I wanted. But take a look at Gareth McAllister in the number 888. Going to be actually side by side now with Brandon Barkuski in that 36 machine. Gareth down low. Going to be trying to battle it out here for the front. Taking the lead for this race and trying to lead some laps here at Daytona for the season opener of the All-American ARCA Series presented by Open Group. Christopher Heller in the number 51 machine. Lap 36 of 80 here at Daytona. And the 51 of Christopher Heller you can see in 3rd place now, right now, as we are side by side. Oh, no! Oh, no. Who was that? Looks like Brandon Barkuski. I wasn't able to click on him in time. But Brandon Barkuski had a moment in that 36 machine. And look at that. I don't know if that's an error with iRacing or what. But his tire appears to be on the top of his car. And that looks like it is correct given the sparks coming out from the bottom of his car now. Brandon took an awfully hard hit there, it seems. At least iRacing seems to think so. Up here in the booth, it didn't seem like it was too bad, but looking at the damage now, it looks like it was worse than it actually was. Oh, man. Brandon Barkuski taking it around with one tire down. We're going to check back in here. Joseph Penn even chiming in the chat. That was like 4 feet of net code. What is with the servers today? You know, and Joseph, I got to agree. There have been some very peculiar situations where drivers were... iRacing would think that drivers were getting into one another, and on screen it still seemed like there was a solid foot, 2 feet, 3 feet even, or more of space between the drivers. Interesting things happening, but can't always win when it comes to netcode and iRacing logic. There's always something to be said. But Alex Penn in the number 30 machine going to be leading this race, as Lane Doyle in the 32 is going to be on his outside. Finley Fitzsimmons in the 06 going to be 3rd, with Gareth McAllister in 4th. And Lane Doyle now going to be trying to lead this race as he takes that lead away from Alex Penn. Drops down to the low line, but now the 06 of Finley Fitzsimmons, this is his chance. Taking a look at the helicopter camera here at Daytona, David Tooker in the number 83 machine in 9th place. Kind of looking at our overall top 10, or give or take a few drivers here as well. All of these drivers have either moved up significantly here in this race, and that's, well, due to some strategy here, or part to some drivers opting to come down into pit road during those cautions, either to get fuel or get a new set of tires, whatever the case may be. And so we've seen now that this field has changed quite a bit from the time that we started. David Westergreen, Finley Fitzsimmons, both leading this race, and gotta say, folks, that was not how it started here. David Westergreen actually still up where he was initially towards the start of this race. David up 2 positions from where he started, in 2nd place now. So having started 4th, lap 41 of 80, and being in 2nd now, that's, well, hard-earned work is what I would say that is. And here we go, folks. Our pit cycles have started for some of our drivers here. Lane Doyle, Gareth McAllister, Alex Penn, the 3 drivers that we mentioned earlier that did not come down into pit road, have now done so. And this now gives the opportunity for Finley Fitzsimmons and David Westergreen, who both have come down pit road, both cautions. So they are either going to have full fuel or relatively close, or fresh set of tires, fresh-ish set of tires, to prolong their stint here in this race. And the longer that you can stay out, the better. And as Finley Fitzsimmons is leading this race right now, David Tooker, David Westergreen, 2nd and 3rd respectively. This is just absolutely amazing to watch here. And there you see Gareth McAllister looking like he's going to come down pit road now. Or is simply getting out of the way of, or coming out of pit road, actually, is looks like what he was doing there. And now looking at this field right now as it stands, given that all of these drivers have come down into pit road, the last time was, for a lot of these drivers, lap 28. Seems to be the last time that they came down pit road for the drivers that did come down the last caution. The 32 machine, though, we saw was leading this race, or at least trying to, for quite some time, and he's now actually going to be a lap down because of having to come down pit road. And if you were here earlier, we were kind of talking about this and mentioning how these strategies were going to come into play. Drivers, those 3 drivers that we mentioned, Lane Doyle, Gareth McAllister, and I believe Alex Penn, those 3 drivers, having not come down pit road when everyone else did, put them at a disadvantage. They are now a lap down and are going to have to earn that lap back somehow. How they're going to do it? Well, that's a good question. Because all of these drivers here leading this race right now, they're probably still good on fuel and tires for, I would say, if they came in lap 28, they're still good for another 20 laps, at least. So with that in mind, with these guys going to be looking at probably lap 60, probably closer to lap 65 before we see this field start to go back down pit road once again, potentially. I could be wrong there. That might be a chance for them to come back and regain that lead, but that's going to be tough. And the pit window is actually confirmed to be around 35 to 40 laps, so I would think that seems about correct. Lap 28, they would be coming down about lap 65, 75, somewhere in between there. And they might even, well, if they're looking at lap 75, they might even be able to extend it even further. I am essentially trying to do math now in my head, and it's not going well. So we're going to carry on with some of our drivers here out on track. Justin Johnson, that we're looking at right now in the 88 machine in 17th currently, has worked his way 8 positions up from where he started. Blaze Andretz looking like he had a moment there for just a second. But right now, with all of these drivers still here, just kind of taking it easy. We're not seeing a whole lot of aggressive movement right now. This is still pretty early in this race here before we start to see any drivers really start to get aggressive, start to get on that loud pedal, and really start to make things happen. Super Bowlers in the chat, bust out the calculator. Well, as much as I would like to do that, I don't know if you guys would like to hear me do math on the broadcast. But hey, if we all want to do a math lesson together, well, we'll consider it someday. How about that? But right now, checking back in with our guys out in front, and just kind of moving around the field here, just taking a look at where everyone's at, what they're doing, and how they're kind of feeling right now. And it looks like everyone is, again, they're all kind of all in this pack. If you look at the track map, you can see just how dense this field is. And like I said towards the beginning of the broadcast, this is how it was going to stay for quite some time. And I had a feeling. But now David Tooker in the 83 is leading this race. Finley Fitzsimmons in the 06 machine in second, with David Westergreen in third. Again, we've seen very small adjustments in this field here. We've kind of seen just one driver moving up, one driver moving down, and other times we've seen kind of drivers just slowly just inching their way up the field time after time again. If you're able to do it well, you can oftentimes use the draft of other drivers and kind of just bob and weave between lines. It's not always easy to do and not always the best thing to do, but some drivers are very effective at it and can make it work for them. But it requires a lot of skill to make it work. So some of these drivers might be trying to make it work for them here tonight. Lap 51 of 80 here at Daytona. David Tooker in the lead right now in that number 20 machine, with David Westergreen in the 55 on his outside. Finley Fitzsimmons in the 06 in third place, with Davis Warren now actually in fifth as he battles it out with Matthias Weeks, who is also slowly crawling his way into this battle here up in the front of the field. But the battle, again, it hasn't moved from this pack. This pack has been consistently side by side all 52 laps of this race. And you can even see behind them the second pack of drivers. They have not moved hardly either. And I would almost say even as well that these two have kind of separated and... Oh, what a great shot. But these two have kind of also separated and kind of created their own little pack as well. So, with just under 30 laps left to go here at Daytona, and with all of the strategy, not really so much strategy, but with all of the different driving styles and just really great racing that we've seen here, I gotta wonder, folks, how these guys are planning these final 30 laps, just under 30 laps. You know, there might be some drivers that might be thinking to themselves, hey, you know, I wanna try and get up into third place, or I wanna get into the top 10. You know, you start to think to yourself, what's realistic? What can I actually do to make that possible? Now, you might be thinking to yourself, well, is it through pit strategy? Is it through just raw driving? Or is it just trying to outsmart my opponent? Looking at Casey Carrington here in the number 9 in 11th place right now. 26 laps left to go as we cross the line here at Daytona. And what a race it has been here for the season opener of the All-American ARCA Series. This has been an incredible race to start this season off to. And it sure looks like a lot of fun to be there on track right now, and I'm sure these guys are having a great time as well. Few hiccups here and there early on, but these guys have seemed to got the kinks worked out and are ready to finish out this race strong. And it has been absolutely thrilling to watch, as now we have more drivers coming down into pit road. Davis Warren locks it up, coming across the pit road line. I almost have a feeling he's going to catch a penalty for that one. A speeding penalty for sure might be potential here for the number 70 of Davis Warren, as that was a full-on lockup going down into pit road. But looking back here in the field, David Tooker in the 83 still leading this race with 25 laps left to go. David Westergreen in the 55 going to be on the outside. You can see David Tooker in the number 20. I keep saying the 83. Here we go. Oh, that almost looked like a fake out. That was very... Oh, no. Oh, David touched the grass for just a second. Had a moment. Almost got loose into the grass going into pit road. That was almost very, very bad for the number 20 of David Tooker. That could have gone much worse if he didn't fix it the way he did. Great job there from David, keeping that together. That almost looked very, very sketchy. But David Westergreen in the 55 machine going to be leading this race here now. Oh, was that a fake out? That almost looked like a fake out there. David, I think just... Oh, man. I can't exactly say for certain, but I almost have a feeling that David just tricked them into coming down pit road. He's still good. I think for another 5 laps or so. He might come down this next time around, but that's an interesting strategy to make here. 23 laps left to go here, and being the leader of this race with Mike Husby in the 6 machine, on his tail. There he goes, right down into pit road, with more drivers also coming down. Mike Husby, Zach Roethlisberger, Dennis Weeks Jr., Clay Cantrell. And that's going to pass the lead off to Greg Carr in the 25 machine, who's also went down into pit road lap 28, so we're going to be expecting that 25, along with Alex Carr behind him in the number 1 machine, will be coming down into pit road here momentarily. And once they do come down pit road, it's going to be Matthias Weeks, Kyle Hall, Andrew McGonigal. Going to be looking like the driver's going to be potentially taking the lead here if they are able to pass. The driver's just now coming out of pit road here in time. Following along here, seeing where these drivers end up. And it actually looks like I was wrong. Looks like Dennis Weeks Jr. in the 97 is actually going to come out of pit road and take the lead. Once Greg and Alex Carr both come down into pit road, that's going to pass the lead off to the 97 machine. 21 laps left to go here. Ooh, but as he gets past there quite aggressively as well. Matthias Weeks in that number 11 machine. Or it looks like he was getting past there for a second. Not exactly... I see. So we have Davis Warren in the number 70 machine, who's in 30th right now, who is trying not to let himself get lapped. As the caution now comes out onto the field, let's take a look at what happened here with Gareth McAllister in the 888 machine. Oh, no. Looks like this is the second pack as well. Gareth getting collected in that. Oh, man. Multiple drivers getting involved in this wreck here. Looks like the number 8 machine. Clay Cantrell getting involved in that as well. Dylan Smock also looks like involved in that incident. Multiple drivers here getting involved in this wreck. That, oh man. That's going to throw out our third caution here. 20 laps left, 19 as we cross the line. Left to go here. We're going to take a very quick commercial break here, folks. Let the field get themselves sorted back out. Don't go anywhere. Stay tuned. We'll be right back in just a minute with some more iRacing here on Team Goon Squad. Stay tuned. We'll be right back, folks.
Driver Carrington gets dumped by Benami. The leaders are winding up here. Daytona, the big one is out.
Alrighty, folks, welcome back to the Daytona 200 here with All-American ARCA Series, proudly presented by Open Group, the season opener of the All-American ARCA Series 2022. And just as a reminder too, I know we've mentioned Open Group here a couple of times, and just to kind of give you an idea of who Open Group is, they provide server hosting and web hosting services. So if you yourself are needing a server or a web hosting provider, they are able to do that for you and make your life just a little bit less chaotic. If you have ever tried to run your own server from home or tried to build your own website, it is not fun. It takes a lot of time. And for most people, they generally don't want to have to deal with those kinds of things. So, Open Group is the perfect solution if you are that kind of person that needs something but doesn't exactly want to do it yourself. Check out Open Group, see what they have to offer for you. All right, as Matthias Weeks and Kyle Hall round up the field here, leading currently behind the pace car. This is going to be our final time around before the pace car comes back down into pit road, and we are green once again. 17 laps left to go here at Daytona for the Daytona 200, presented by Open Group. I gotta say, folks, I've said it already multiple times, this has been extremely amazing to watch here. This first race of the season for All-American ARCA, it's been thrilling. And there we go. The pace car is in. And the green flag will fly. 17 laps left to go here at Daytona. Matthias Weeks, Kyle Hall, going to be side by side leading this field. Dennis Weeks Jr., Cody McCorkle also going to be side by side as well, just behind them. And here we go, folks. This is the final shootout of this race. 16 laps left to go. There is no more pit strategy involved. It is all racing from here. If you have not prepared yourself for this moment, you are too late as the 87 machine of Kyle Hall goes sideways. The yellow flag flies. The whole field, oh man. Oh, my computer can't even keep up with it. It's just so bad. I'm sorry, folks. Ah, man, that is just too funny. Oh no. That is terrible. Okay. Let's go back here. Let's find where this starts and figure out what exactly went wrong. So we're looking at Patrick Hernandez in the number 19 machine. Oh no, trouble starts here. He clips the number 5. The 5 goes up. Oh, this is where it all begins. Yeah. All right. So we're not gonna bother trying to watch that because that's not gonna be useful in any kind of way to anybody. So needless to say, the simplest way to explain what just happened in the absolute simplest of terms is the big one came out. And it didn't look like much at first, but it spiraled into an absolutely just horrifying incident. Frankly, I wish I was able to play it back to you guys in a way that didn't look like a slideshow. Yeah, it's unfortunate. That was heartbreaking to watch. 14 laps left to go here, folks, as well. That's got to be rough. That has absolutely got to be hurting for these drivers here tonight. All right, folks. With 14 laps left to go here, guys, I'm shocked by what just happened. Literally, I don't even know how many drivers that collected. If we're looking at pit road right now, that is a sad sight to see. A lot of these drivers were collected in that incident. I believe downward from, I think that was like P9 on down that was affected. So, oh man, not a great thing to see here coming into the final half of this race. Now, bear in mind as well, we do have 3 green-white checkered attempts of this race, and we're getting closer and closer to that point. And it looks like here this is going to be a single file restart. By the looks of it, that appears to be what we are going to do here as we come down the backstretch into turn 3 and out of turn 4. We're going to see that pace car come down into pit road, and we're going to be racing here one more time. All right, folks, let's go racing. This is the final, hopefully, the final green flag run here that we will see for the Daytona 200, the season opener with All-American ARCA Series, as the green flag flies here at Daytona once again. Dennis Weeks Jr., Mike Husby in the lead. Well, Dennis Weeks Jr. in the lead, Mike Husby chasing down that number 97 machine. Going to be trying to potentially take that lead here. 12 laps left to go here, folks. This is where the battles are going to start, and I don't think they're going to end all the way until the checkered flag. James Silvers, you can see just on the outside. Dennis Weeks Jr. in the 97 machine down low. Out in front, these guys are stacking up here up front, getting ready for the final few laps here at Daytona, and you can even see behind them they're starting to do the same thing here as well. Robert Hill Jr. in that 05 machine, going to be in 12th place right now, following behind Jacob Feskinen in that number 89 machine. These guys are pushing it here in these final few laps here at Daytona, and this is it, folks. This is where their chance to either make it or break it here for the first race of the season. Now, there's still plenty of races left to go here. It's not exactly the end of the world if you don't have the best results here that you were hoping for, but to make that good impression here off the start of the season is definitely a good way to start things off now. But Dennis Weeks Jr., Mike Husby, Davis Warren still battling it out. First, second, and third place. 10 laps left to go. We're almost 3 wide here up front. You can see there just for a moment the 08, the 06, and the 11. Didn't catch the other driver's number as well, but they were 3 wide there for just a moment. It almost got spicy. Ooh, it looks like another driver also had a little bit of a moment. Looks like the 16, Justin Bentley, getting up into the top wall out of turn 2 for just a moment. Able to recover it, not making it worse than it was looking to be. What a fantastic view of the field, working their way out of turn 2 down the back stretch. Excuse me, out of turn 4 down the front. Looking at Dylan Smock in that number 60 machine here in 9th place, currently doing a fantastic job here right on the outside of Well in that number 60 machine. In 8th place right now, 9 laps left to go here, folks. This is going to be interesting. We are 3 wide here, just a little bit further back. You can see David Westergreen, the number 9, Casey Carrington, all in his lonesome there, all the way on the outside, trying to find a spot to squeeze his way in to that draft line there. There he goes, finding a spot to make it work for himself. Look at these drivers here. Let's ride on board with James Silvers in the number 17 machine, and let's have a listen to these drivers as they work their way around Daytona here. 8 laps left to go. Absolutely love listening to these guys rip it around Daytona. Just full wide the whole time on that throttle, not letting up an inch, only to make sure that you don't end up in the bumper of the driver in front of you once you get into that draft. Look at this field though. 7 laps left to go. These guys are almost bumper to bumper, 2 wide. And nearly, looks like, gosh, almost 12, 14 deep. What a fantastic field tonight here for the All-American ARCA Series 2022 season opener here at Daytona. The Daytona 200 presented by Open Group. Davis Warren, Dennis Weeks Jr. out in front, swapping places as they duke it out side by side and string along the rest of the field with them for this intense battle. In these final 6 laps, you can even see a little bit of lap traffic. One driver that they're going to be quickly passing. You can see that lone driver opting to drop down into that pit lane, or the pit road rather, kind of the exit there, to make sure they were out of the way. Well, we got shout-outs in chat for the number 70 of Davis Warren, who's currently in 2nd place. Going to be on the outside here. Driver scraping the wall. That's James Silvers in the 17. He's still grinding against that wall there for just a moment, able to recover, get back down onto the track. That's going to come at a huge loss. James Silver's into 22nd, now down 2 positions from where he started. It is not looking good, but the field in front is also looking a little bit worse for wear as they all collect each other for another caution here at Daytona with only 5 laps left to go. I don't even know if I'm going to be able to look at that replay. It looks like it was the same kind of situation we were dealing with before, where it was just too much for my wheel computer to handle. And here we go. Let's see if we can catch as much as possible. The 19, Patrick Hernandez. Oh, this is the wrong incident here. Let's take a look at the correct one. We're going to look at, Christopher Heller. Turned around sideways. Going backwards down the track. That's not good. We're going to take a look. Brandon Barkuski. Oh, no. And that's where things start to get a little squirrely, a little wobbly. So it looks like Brandon Barkuski had a little bit of a moment and collected a bunch of other drivers. You can see there Robert Hill Jr. in that 05 machine also has quite some significant damage to that 05 machine. That is not going to be very, very promising for that 05 machine here with only 4 laps left to go. And again, we do have 3 green, white, checkered attempts here. With only these last few laps to go here, folks, I'm quite surprised at how this night has gone. You know, this race has gone extremely well for a lot of these drivers, and it's only taken these couple of incidents to really toss the field around, throw a wrench in the gears for a lot of these guys who really might have been planning to really lead this race. A lot of drivers seem to be very strong in the beginning and towards the middle of the race, and once these cautions started to come out and collect drivers, and bear in mind we've only had 5 cautions out of 77 laps here tonight. That's not very many. Now, the amount of drivers that we've had collected in those incidents, however, poses a different story. As the lights go off on the pace car, folks, and as we round our way around the track, I want to thank everybody for tuning in to the show tonight. I hope everyone has enjoyed the action that they have seen so far. I know that I've certainly enjoyed calling it and witnessing it here myself in the broadcast booth. I hope it's been just as exciting for me as it has been for yourselves. But with 3 laps left to go here, folks, for the season opener of the All-American ARCA Series Daytona 200 presented by Open Group, this race is not over just yet. As we work our way into turn 3, we're going to come out of turn 4 that pace car is going to come down into pit road, and we are going to be green flag racing here once again. And here we go, folks. The pace car is in. And the green flag is out. We are green flag racing here. 3 laps left to go. 80 laps that we have done here, or will do here once these drivers work their way around the track the last few times. Here for the Daytona 200, presented by Open Group. Dennis Weeks Jr. in the 97 machine out in front. Matthias Weeks on the inside of the number 70 of Davis Warren as they duke it out for second and third. But Dennis Weeks Jr. not exactly safe from this, as the number 70 machine able to take the lead for just a moment coming into turn 3 and 4. Will that hold, as Dennis Weeks still on that inside, going to be able to gain a little bit more speed coming out onto the front out of turn 4. These drivers are going to come across the checkered line. The white flag will fly here at Daytona. This will be the last final attempt to make something happen. Dennis Weeks Jr. out in the lead. Matthias Weeks in 11th place, in 2nd place as they work their way out of turn 2 down the backstretch. Dennis Weeks Jr. looks to be safe for right now. But drivers are collecting each other in wrecks. But it's the final lap. Oh man. As things start to happen here on track, folks, it's going to look a little weird here, but we're going to keep going. We're going to keep trying to stick with it. Davis Warren leading this race in the number 70 machine across the checkered line. Oh, no, he's not even across the checkered line yet. Mike Husby. Oh, folks. Oh, my gosh. Oh, this field has wrecked coming across the checkered line. Oh no. Oh folks, I wish it didn't look like a slideshow for everyone on the broadcast. That is as Finley Fitzsimmons sends it coming out the back. Oh folks. What a race, guys. What a race. And it looks like Mike Husby is going to be the one to take it across the line for the win. Let's take a look here one more time. Let's take things into slow motion. We're watching Mike Husby in the number 6 machine right now. Again, I apologize for all the stutteriness that we're seeing. Not much I can do about it, but we're just looking at what happens here. You can kind of see all the drivers starting to collect one another. And Mike Husby in that ginger ale 6 machine able to come across the line, taking home the win for first place, and now doing his celebratory burnouts on the front stretch. A well-earned win here, given the circumstances. We're going to take a look at our post-race results. Mike Husby taking home the win. Cody McCorkle in 2nd. Matthias Weeks in 3rd. Jacob Feskinen in 4th. Dennis Weeks Jr. in 5th. Justin Ray in 6th. Davis Warren in 7th. James Silvers in 8th. Craig Martin in 9th. Zach Rogers in 10th. Patrick Hernandez in 11th. Dylan Smock in 12th. Justin Bentley in 13th. Alex Penn in 14th. Zach Roethlisberger in 15th. Finley Fitzsimmons in 16th. Michael Vandermeed in 17th. Alex Carr in 18th. David Westergreen in 19th. Devin Scroggins in 20th. Andrew McGronigal in 21st. Casey Carrington in 22nd. John Creedler in 23rd. Gareth McAllister in 24th. Radburn Shutters in 25th, Greg Carr in 26th, Robert Hill Jr. in 27th, and last but certainly, well, actually no, David Tooker in 28th, Christopher Heller in 29th, Clay Cantrell in 30th, Ben Dupre in 31st, Nick Terrell in 32nd, Jay Stinson in 33rd, Brandon Barkuski in 34th, Justin Johnson in 35th, Kyle Hall in 36th, Blaze Andrich in 37th, Lane Doyle in 38th, and finally, last but not least, Brad Delph taking home the win, Brad Delph in the 39. I'm getting this all wrong. Brad Delph in the 14 machine, rounding out the field in 39th. Finally, now that we've gotten through that, Deanna saying she's never going to drink ginger ale ever again. But we are going to take a look here and start to get our post-race interview started here. So, up first, we are going to have Matthias Weeks, our third-place driver in the number 11 machine, up in the booth first. Matthias, sir, can you read me?
Yeah, I got you. And by the way, it is just Matthew.
Matthew, oh man, you know, I kept second guessing myself, Matthew, and I shouldn't have. Matthew,
Good.
you had quite an incredible race here. This was honestly one that was pretty interesting to try and keep up with. Just honestly, throughout this whole race, this was just action-packed. Matthew, what was it like trying to work through all these cautions that we had, and also just all of these wrecks that were seemingly collecting drivers left and right?
It was a challenge, especially not knowing when it's going to happen, but knowing coming to these play tracks, you always know there's going to be wrecks, always. So you just got to be ready for it. Luckily, I was always in the right spot to dodge them.
Absolutely. Well, coming here for the season opener at Daytona, you did quite an excellent job here, and the competition seemed to be quite stiff as well. Matthew, what was kind of your strategy for these 80 laps here at Daytona, and did it kind of go the way that you expected?
Yeah, kinda. My main plan was to ride around for the first probably 25 laps just to get a feel of how everyone was driving, because some of these guys I haven't raced against yet. And then after that, I wanted to drive to the front, and I ended up getting up there. I mean, so it was good.
Yeah, absolutely. It looked good up here in the booth, and it seemed like all the drivers were having a good time as well. Matthew, before I let you go here tonight, congratulations on third place. Is there anyone watching the broadcast, anyone at home that you want to shout out or thank before you head out tonight?
Oh yeah, everyone, my other team, the Pro Edge guys that tuned in and watch, SMRI, proud to have them on the car every week, and you guys up here and the guys that run this league, man.
Absolutely, Matthew. Well, thank you for coming up here and chatting with me in the booth. Again,
I'm sorry to interrupt. I forgot this. Sorry. But
no
and
worries.
Mountain Man. If it wasn't for the Mountain Man Motorsports, I wouldn't be racing, dude.
Absolutely. Well, thank you again for coming up here and chatting with me, Matthew, and congratulations on third place. And hopefully we see some similar results going forward into the rest of the season. And good luck to you in this season.
Oh yeah, hope so too. Thank you. You have a good night.
You too, Matthew. Thank you. All right, folks. Matthew Weeks in the number 11 machine after kindly correcting me on how to properly pronounce his last name. Thank you, Matthew, for making sure that I'm not insane. Matthew going to be out of the booth. Cody McCorkle going to be up next in the number 2 machine, taking home second place. Cody, sir, do you have a read?
Yep.
Cody, I said the same thing to Matthew, and I'm going to run it by you as well. This was a challenge for every single driver here tonight, and you worked your way up 27 positions, taking home second place. Now, with all of the wrecks that we had here tonight, did that kind of come into your favor, having a lot of strong drivers being wiped out very close to the end of the race?
I think it's one of those things where it never hurts have some things fall your way. Uh, Unfortunately, we got involved in one of those wrecks there. I think fell back to 15th on that last restart, and or before the green-white checkered. We're able to drive back up there and get in that pack, and thankfully be in the right position almost at the right time.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and it seemed like that was a lot of the case here tonight, was just kind of trying to find yourself in the right place at the right time. And well, even just you weren't even really thinking about it. But Cody, this race was a very interesting challenge for drivers, just knowing that there probably was going to be some wrecks. What was kind of your game plan for tonight, and what were you expecting, and did it turn out the way that you thought it would?
I think we executed our plan perfectly. We went into it thinking, let's kind of stay with the pack, try to, just hang out with them, right behind them, and then maybe 20, 30 to go, try to make our move. I think we ended up going a little bit early, but in the end, I think it worked out pretty well. Might have made the move a little too early, but other than that, can't ask for much more.
Yeah, absolutely. When you have 40 drivers on track and everyone's driving too wide, 14, 15 deep, yeah, I would agree with you, Cody. I think that there's definitely not too much you can ask for from a race like this. But Cody, before I let you go here tonight and celebrate your second place finish here tonight, is there anyone watching the broadcast, anyone at home that you want to shout out or thank before you go?
Oh, absolutely. A huge shout out to team owner Bobby Bailey for putting this all together. Crew Chiefs Corner Motorsports, new team this year. Excited to get a good start with them out the gate. Looking forward to what the season can do with Crew Chiefs Corner on the car all season.
Absolutely, Cody. Well, thank you for coming up here and chatting with me in the booth. Again, congratulations on taking home second place tonight for the Daytona 200. Cody, I look forward to seeing you throughout the rest of the season. Hopefully see some similar results.
Thank you.
Absolutely, Cody. Have a great night. That's going to be Cody McCorkle in the number 2 machine out of the booth. And last but certainly not least, Mike Husby in the number 6 machine, taking home the win for tonight. Mike, sir, do you have a read?
Yes, I do.
Mike, I think you know what I'm going to ask you. Mike, this end of the race, this literally the last lap coming down the front stretch, or the front curve rather, did you expect to come home with first tonight?
Absolutely not, because I was trying to push Davis to the lead basically the whole time. I was committed to working with him, and then going actually into turn 1 that lap, he actually blinked, and I thought the race was over right there because I thought we were going to lose so much momentum, and that we were basically screwed. But thankfully that didn't happen, and I got a huge run down the back stretch, and then I knew Weeks was gonna the other Weeks was gonna make a move to win the race in the middle. So I just told Davis to go 3 wide because I had a run and was able to push him, and then it was just on from there because I knew Davis had to make his moves, and unfortunately he didn't make the right one, and we just prevailed from making it 3 wide on the top there. And then I'm really so happy, so ecstatic. Like, this is incredible. Like, this, I've been trying to win this race for since 2004, and this is my first time winning in an actual stock car version of the NASCAR cars. So this is awesome.
Mike, you did an incredible job tonight. Every single driver that was in that pack going into the lead, into the last lap. Oh, man. I don't think anyone was expecting that to happen. And, Mike, you were just in the right place at the right time. And you did a fantastic job just making sure that you weren't collected in that as well. Going into this race here today, it looked like the number 6 machine was pretty confident out there on track, kind of sticking around the top 10. Were you expecting to finish at least in the top 10, or what was kind of your thoughts going into today's race?
I was literally just hoping for a top 10 because so much can happen at these races, and like I just wanted to stay out of trouble, have a good race, and if we were in contention to win the race, I'd go for it on the last lap. And it's amazing that it actually happened.
Absolutely, Mike. I couldn't believe it when it started to happen. Once it did, I was kind of almost at a loss for words. But Mike, I want to congratulate you on taking home the win tonight for the Daytona 200. But before I let you go and celebrate, is there anyone watching the broadcast or at home that you want to shout out or thank before you head out tonight?
Oh, yeah, I just want to thank Johnny Eckert for giving me this opportunity in the Outlaw Motorsports, no, Outlaw Racing team here. We kind of had a deal come together last year, and I ran a couple races for him. And then this year the plan was to run full time. So I'm looking forward to running all the races and having a shot at the championship now, especially with this win. I want to thank Robert Hill as well for being a longtime team owner and friend, and so happy that he was able to witness this and be in the same race that it happened in. I'd also like to thank everybody watching tonight. I hope you guys enjoyed the finish there. That was pretty wild, and hopefully it was a good race to watch. And you guys, obviously, for putting on the broadcast. Thanks for that as well. And I almost forgot All American for putting on this great league.
Absolutely, Mike. Thank you again for coming up here and chatting with me in the booth, and congratulations again on your first place podium finish here at Daytona. Mike, have a great night, and I look forward to seeing you in the rest of the season.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Have a great night. Mike Husby in the number 6 machine out of the booth, taking home the win for the Daytona 200 presented by Open Group here with All-American ARCA Series. My name is Mason Heimbaugh with Team Goon Squad, bringing you the action here tonight. I hope you all enjoyed. If you did, hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't already, to stay tuned with all the action that we have here at Team Goon Squad 7 days a week. Thank you all for tuning in and watching, and see you all next week once again.